I got a hybrid. No, it's not a Prius. What a nice, whoa, sports car this is. Let's go for a ride in the 2014 McLaren P1. Enough said. First of all, what is a P1? It's a lot of things. Mid-engine, rear-wheel drive, carbon fiber, plug-in hybrid, active everything supercar. And when I say carbon fiber, I mean carbon fiber everywhere. The tub, the superstructure of the roof, all your body panels. In fact, there is no engine cover to speak of, not one that you lift. Use tools to take it off when it's time for service. Otherwise, stay out of there. And McLaren tells me if you remove even the largest carbon fiber panel on this car, the rear clamshell, you can still pick it up easily with thumb and forefinger. It's all about lightweight, super stiffness, and high strength. You're gonna think I'm nuts, but the most revealing thing I did is not drive this car, but wash it. When you get your hands all over this body structure, it is so foreign. I kept thinking of marine structures and fish. Now inside the Batmobile, don't go looking for a bunch of seat controls. You have one, fore and aft. That's it. Directly ahead of me is an all-LCD instrument panel. Not that novel today, but I'm surprised how unbusy this one is. It doesn't choke you with a whole lot of information. And unusual for supercars, this one's got a pretty up-to-date, comprehensive head unit. It's kind of like a baby Tesla in its orientation. It is a touchscreen, as you can see. Media choices are pretty comprehensive. Navigation is pretty digestible, and this is very forward-looking for a car like this. You got a decent app suite, including a web browser, also rather Tesla-esque, and TuneIn for radio station streaming and podcasts. So unlike some super high-dollar, high-performance cars, you're not going to be sitting there in the 1990s in terms of cabin tech. But now on to the stuff that really matters in this car. Let's get to our powertrain control. Starting back at the wheel, you've got your paddle shifters. These move with the wheel, by the way. They're not stuck on the column, which is kind of surprising. You can pull this one for a downshift or an upshift, but they track together. On the wheel are two buttons you'll find in no other car, unless you drive a Formula One car. DRS is the drag reduction system. It's going to feather out the rear wing to reduce drag down a straight when you really want to haul, and then you let up on it, and it plants you down again. We'll try that later. And iPass is their acronym for electric boost. You can do it on demand or let it happen automatically. Now, to get this car to really come alive, you have to first put it in active mode. Now you're digging into the performance. On the left is your handling control. Normal, sport, or track. On the right is your powertrain control with the same three settings. Manual button here puts you in manual shift mode, of course. The arrow button over here puts it in full aerodynamic mode. Race puts you in the most aggressive mode entirely. In fact, you have to go through two confirmation screens that tell you you're on your own. It gets the car super low, it puts the wing super high, it sharpens up all your responses, and it takes off all of your stability control. And finally, the boost button down here is interesting. When you hit that, you now take the electric motor out of the equation, and it only comes on demand. And that's when you get back to the iPass button. The last thing I want to show you are some electric controls up here by the starter button. This E-mode does, as you might imagine, puts the car in electric-only mode. It can go about 6 or 7 miles, battery only. And of course, it's a plug-in hybrid. You can hit this button here to put it in charge mode. You've got a door overhead where the charging port is. Takes about 2 hours to do a full charge off shore power. But of course, the car will regen its own battery along the way. The way it does that's interesting. It does not have brake regeneration. It has coasting regeneration. McLaren does that so that the brake feel is always the same and never polluted by having a regen apparatus getting in between you and the pads. Now back here under glass is the secret sauce to our powertrain, with the emphasis on power. It is a 3.8-liter twin-turbo V8. The engine has 727 horsepower. The electric motor adds 176. The V8 engine has 531 pound-feet of torque. The electric motor adds 192. Totaled up in engine math, you've got 903 horsepower, 722 pound-feet of torque. And all of that goes out through a 7-speed dual-clutch transmission to the rear wheels only. Interestingly, not all-wheel drive. Your results are stunning, 0 to 60 in 2.8 seconds. The P1 weighs just over 3,000 pounds. Its MPG is 17, or a slightly better 18 MPGe. But who cares? let's get on the track. So the new territory that we're exploring here is this idea of electric torque that kicks in while the turbos are still getting down to business. It's a different kind of power, more than you've ever known before because of that full torque from zero that electric motors have. And what McLaren tells you, and it's actually quite interesting, is don't worry about running this car all the way out, taking it up to the red line every single time between the gear change. You actually run it in the mid-range to mid-high of your RPMs, and it's all there. Wide open on the back straight, just get on it. The next thing you notice is this incredibly intelligent suspension, which is handling both damping as well as handling an active sway bar roll, of course. Going through the turn 11 hairpin, there's no body roll any more than going through a very mild turn. Okay, now to get the full barrel tasting of the P1, I'm going to set it into race mode. I've done that. Now, I'm basically on my own. It's a little unnerving. If I blow it, I owe a very good friend of CNET On Cars a little over $1 million. What I want to try in particular is to hit the DRS on the fast back straight and get a feel for what it's like to have that thing slipstream the car. And you got to do a complicated thing here. I got to shift with the right while DRS with the left thumb. Holy God! Where did that come from? I think I just added a good 10 miles per hour to my previous best back speed. And I'm not even good at this.
The P1, like most McLarens, reserves its last surprise for the ride home, where dropping in an auto mode and settling back gives you an amazingly livable street car that wouldn't really be fatiguing to commute in if you wish to turn your office colleagues a particular shade of green.
Okay, let's say I've convinced you want to buy a P1. Here comes the heartbreak. They're all long sold. They only made 375 of these guys. This is number 106, for example. What the P1 really demonstrates extremely well is the existing knowledge of carbon fiber technology that we've known about, but merge that lightness and strength with this stout torque of hybridization and the extreme active aero management, and this is an amazing package. It also proves we're on the cusp of an amazing era.
More cars driven CNET style, standing by now at CNETOnCars.com. Click on the road.